What was the first concert you went to?
First concert I ever went to was the Black Clouds and Underdogs tour in 2006.
Woo!
For me, being a massive From First to Last fan.
Oh, me as well. So we're about to have a whole other conversation. Was that Sonny Moore era from First to Last?
That was Heroin.
Oh, that was Heroin era. Chad Kowal. Is that how you say your last name?
You're like
Kowal.
one of the very few people that says it correctly.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some of the wrong ones? Kowal?
Kowal.
Nice.
That's a popular mess up.
But dude, long time coming
Yes.
for us to finally sit down and chat. I feel like I've known you for years.
We have.
And I first knew you in Farewell, My Love.
Yep.
So how are you? How's life? What's new? Like, just how is everything?
It's going really well, man. I feel like this is a cool time for us to kind of like reconvene and talk again. I've been doing solo stuff for about the past couple years. I'm living out in Los Angeles now,
which is recent. So when I last saw you as a solo artist, you were playing at Troubadour.
Yes.
And actually, I think there was some bit of a farewell reunion there.
Yeah.
Which was rad. But I think you had just kind of moved out to LA.
Yeah.
At that time.
I basically moved out here like June 20th. I was in the studio with Steven working on a bunch of the new stuff.
Yeah.
And then literally right from that one, did the show.
Yeah.
So it was very much like a homecoming.
And I always love seeing artists play Troubadour because that was one of the first venues I ever went to when I moved out here. But the comparison that everyone always says that I think is worthy is Elton John's first show was there.
Yeah.
And so when I saw his movie, the Rocket Man movie, like they made that a whole thing about being at the Troubadour. And I thought that was so sick. But you were working with Steven from the Somerset.
Correct.
On some tracks. And you did the song Anti-Social Media.
Yes.
Anti-social media, validation in love, hitting harder than a drug. We should probably give it up.
Was that your first time working with him, or have you guys done some other stuff?
Funny enough, Steven and I have known each other since I was like 17.
Yeah.
He was the first producer I ever worked with.
Oh, so you've got a history of working with him, actually.
Well,
Cool.
he recorded my very first band in like 2008 or 9. It was like on this little tiny like mixer in his parents' living room, like just totally grassroots.
Was that like out in Arizona?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was when we both lived out there. And then I did, I think, 4 songs with him there. And then he moved out here. And then not crazy long after, I moved out here. And so the songs we worked on in Arizona were like kind of more pop focused. And then the next batch of songs that we did together are very much like a return to form for like, I don't know, kind of channeling my roots a lot more of the stuff I grew up on, stuff we probably both mutually kind of love.
Yeah,
you know?
so what did you grow up on? And I know you got like a killer, the Used tattoo on you, and the Used, they are my second favorite band of all time. They're just below Blink. They're the first band I ever saw in concert.
Oh, nice.
Burn the sun, burn the light. Take it away. Take my hand, take my life. Take it away.
So what were some of the bands that you were growing up on that have kind of led you to where your music is now?
Definitely My Chem.
Take a good hard look.
They're my favorite band of all time.
My Kim was opening for the Used when I first saw them.
Was that a Taste of Chaos?
It was before that. It was in
Wow.
2004, so it was
Oh my God.
not long after 3 Cheers came out.
Oh, wow.
And then Taste of Chaos was the next year, I think, like 2005 or 6.
And then they flipped.
Yeah, in regards to kind of who was taking over the scene.
Yeah.
And My Kim, that was wild to see. But My Kim, The Used, who else were you listening to growing up?
AFI. I credit Davey Havoc as being like one of the big pillars in my life because I don't drink or smoke or do any of that sort of stuff, and neither did he. And I never even really knew that was like a lifestyle choice. I thought it was just kind of like, you know what I mean?
Being in the music world, you're surrounded by drinking and drugs and partying so much. When did that choice come for you to decide and realize you could decide to not partake in that?
I mean, my whole life, I kind of like didn't really enjoy being around drinking.
Yeah.
I don't really have those like sort of traumatic stories that people have, you know, sometimes where there's like a story that like changed their life sort of thing, or made it turn around. Just for me, it was just never for me. And then honestly, I think the nail in the coffin was when I started being in a band and touring. and seeing how much that affected my bandmates.
Yeah, when you're surrounded by it.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, cool. Like, one of our members is loaded today. We're going to have a bad show.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Just this sort of stuff like that. So I feel like that was really the biggest thing for me. That was kind of like, okay, this is definitely not for me.
I know so many artists now who are the exact same way, who've never smoked or drink, like Austin from Water Parks.
High key, when we fucking feel like I'm struck by your lightning. They say I'm brainwashed, yeah, it might be.
We had Nathan James in here, and then he was even saying he's never done that stuff.
He's never done that stuff.
Yeah.
You should come and get blind with me, and I will never make you build your face back.
So you've been diving into solo stuff. You've been in the band stuff. You've done all that. How is it embarking on a solo career where you don't necessarily have other members that you're writing with, or there's no heads butting, I'd imagine, potentially?
Yeah.
How has that journey been for you after kind of a career doing the band stuff?
It's been really positive, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I'm grateful for having done the band for as long as I did. I learned, incredible lessons during that time.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the solo stuff, I love being able to, like, when you have a band, no matter who you are, whatever genre of music it is, like, take, I don't know, Blink or something. People hear Blink 182 and they expect something.
Yeah, absolutely. Expectations.
There's expectations always tied with that. Whereas when it's with me, I gave myself one rule with this project, and it was I'm going to do whatever I want. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a believer. Like, you take a band like Fall Out Boy, for instance, like, they've done so much stuff, but what makes them sound like Fall Out Boy is Patrick's voice.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I just am me and I do whatever, I really should have the freedoms to do it. And I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's like whatever producer or songwriters that I work with, they differentiate all the time. And it's almost like being in a band that's ever changing. It's like I'll do some songs with Stevens, then Stevens in my band for those songs.
Yeah.
And then I go do some songs with Joey, and then he's in my band for those songs.
Yeah.
So it's been really exciting. It keeps things fresh. And yeah, I just feel like it's been a really positive thing for me.
Mm-hmm. And so speaking of Steven, and we talked that you guys have worked together. I didn't realize for so long you guys have quite the relationship. The song that I had mentioned earlier was Anti-Social Media. Being an artist in a day and age where it seems like you have to embrace, you have to love, you have to be all about social media. Because with your message behind anti-social media, it seems like maybe it's not your favorite aspect of the music career.
Definitely not. I mean, I feel like just in general of the way that music has headed, for the past 20, 30 years, is it's like back in the day, you'd play in a band, you write your songs.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was you play in a band, you write your songs, and you're the one promoting. Okay. Well, now you're going to play in a band, write your songs, and you're going to film all your own stuff, and you have to post every day or the algorithm's not going to catch you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like the amount of roles that we keep getting given. There's absolutely great positives with it, but I just think that there have been some things that have changed the culture that have started with social media. Like, for instance, a lot of people, it's very taboo to be like only posting your best stuff, like vacations and when things are going really great and this and that. And then an outsider could see that and be like, wait, but my life's not like that. And then they start to not like themselves, or I'm not that skinny, or I'm not this pretty, or this or that. And I feel like that's kind of created a lot of room for, just self-loathing and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like that song really is kind of a tongue-in-cheek way of just like analyzing all of us, because all of us are guilty of it in some way or another. Like, how far we go into it can differ, but it's inherently just our generation that we've grown up on.
Anti-social media, validate me, show me love, hitting harder than a drug. We should probably give it up. Social media.
This past summer, you released an EP.
Yes.
Alt pop.
Yes.
Couple songs off of it. You dropped some music videos. First EP, I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
It was awesome. I had seen online, because I was just kind of like trying to see different producers and stuff that I can work with, because I'm like, I really had a clean slate. And obviously I'm a huge Used fan. And so I saw, there was a mutual friend of mine that had been in the studio with Joey from the Used.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even know he produced. And so I had emailed him and we locked in some dates. And we went in the studio and we did alt pop.
Call me alt pop, bang it out, hit, set a hot stop. Chorus so big like a bomb drop.
Human Volcano.
Like a human volcano. Burning in my bones, I'm so inferno.
And Psycho. together.
You call me crazy, call me psycho. Uh-oh. You say I'm never doing it right. Getting even with the ego. Uh-oh.
And it was just so surreal for me. Like being in the vocal booth and I was like literally surrounded in their road cases and like they had like tour posters up and stuff and just like hearing him play and just, I don't know. It was so awesome.
A big full circle moment.
Big time. Like I feel like we can get really caught up in trying to always like go to the next height in a music career just for the sake of going higher. But for me, it's more about satisfying like that 16-year-old. Like I grew up on the Used, going to their shows and like trying to meet them outside the bus and like getting tattoos and like I'm like a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be in the studio with them or with Joey was so awesome because it's like it like affirmed my 16-year-old self that like, I could do it. You know what I mean?
When the Used used to come to Reno, where I'm from, I would wait outside to meet them.
Yeah.
Like there were so many bands that I would want to wait outside to meet, to chat with them. Oh, and I just saw the Used at the Troubadour. Speaking of the Troubadour, because they had their CD release show there, and their new album is so sick.
Yeah.
But I think living your life and creating full circle moments is one of the funnest things to happen. It was even this past weekend at When We Were Young Fest.
Oh, yeah.
So many bands stopping by, like John Feldman dropping in for an interview. Oh, speaking of the Used, John Feldman has done like so many of their classic iconic things.
Oh, yeah.
And I absolutely love and live for those moments of getting to interact with people that I grew up looking up to.
Yeah, I mean,
and loving.
He's a whole other separate conversation. Like
Feldy,
you look at his discography, that shit'll make you cry, bro.
Oh my God. It's wild what he went on to do because I feel like so many of us got to know him from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
So here I am, doing everything I can, holding on to what I am, pretending I'm a Superman.
Oh, Tony Hawk was out at When We Were Young and came out, sang the song with him as well. Tommy can attest that I talked to Tony Hawk.
Yeah,
you saw
we could say that.
He was walking by our tent.
Talked to Adam.
I talked at him. My mouth and voice went towards him. He said one word back to me. I was trying to get him to stop by for an interview. It didn't happen. But what was the first concert?
Someday.
Yeah, what was the first concert you went to?
First concert I ever went to was the Black Clouds and Underdogs tour in 2006.
Woo!
It was Fall Out Boy, Hawthorne Heights, From First to Last, All American Rejects, and I want to say maybe somebody else on the front end, like one of the openers. But for me, being a massive From First to Last fan.
Oh, me as well. So we're about to have a whole other conversation. Was that Sonny Moore era from First to Last?
That was Heroin.
Oh, that was Heroin era. Dear Diary is one of my absolute favorite albums of all time. And I think Sonny is a perfect example of what becoming a solo artist allows you to do in regards to just pursuing your own music interests.
Yeah.
Because when he went on to become Skrillex, I don't think anybody could have ever imagined how big he was going to be.
Oh, no.
And how epic of a name.
He still blows me away. Even knowing, I'll preface this by saying, I'm a massive Skrillex fan. I have a tattoo of that as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
When he quit From First to Last because he had vocal issues, and then he did solo stuff.
As Sonny.
Yeah. And then he had a band that he did, I think it was called Sonny and the Blood Monkeys. It was like this like kind of crazy experimental sort of thing. And then when he started Skrillex, it's just been wild. Like I'll go back and I'll watch the documentaries on him and stuff, just still the same ones I've been watching for 10 years. And you'll watch like 2010 was the first EP. Then 2012, he won his first Grammy. 15, he was working with Bieber.
Yeah, I was going to say Bieber came up, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. Purpose.
Me too.
So good.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's meant a lot to me as somebody who loves a lot of different genres of music and always saw myself kind of doing the solo thing at some point. He's been, I think, more than anybody else, my pillar example of like, he completely left the scene that he was a part of and did something else. And now it almost feels like it's this, especially with him returning, 2017.
Yeah, and I thought Make War, such a good song.
Yeah.
I saw them perform at Emo Night.
Dude, I was so jealous when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, bro.
And then like a week later, I was at the Grammys.
Yeah.
And I interviewed him at the Grammys about it.
This last Tuesday, I was at a little thing called Emo Night. Yes. All of a sudden, I'm sitting out in the crowd. Next thing I know, From First to Last comes on, starts playing Dear Diary. I got to ask, are you back for good now in From First to Last?
I mean, I guess like I left the band, but I would say I'm not left anymore.
And that all for me, just that 1 week span. I was like, what is happening? I just saw From First to Last. I'm at the Grammys talking to you
just
now.
wake up on the floor, you're just like pass out.
Yeah, it seemed just like a dream, but it was wild to see him go out and do that.
Yeah.
And then when I saw he was working with Bieber and stuff, and then there's videos of them like in the studio, I was like, oh my God, Sonny, I'm proud of you.
It's incredible, man. And the thing that's so cool about him too is like he changed music twice. Like there's not many people that can say that they've done that.
On complete opposite sides of like different genres, different scopes of music entirely.
Yeah.
You have a new song coming out, Heavy Heart.
Yes.
And this was it seems like a very personal track for you.
It is.
It was a song that you wrote after not writing for quite some time.
I think initially when I was starting to do this project, it was very like conceptual based songs. Like I'm going to have a song that's about, I don't know, that has the title Billy Madison or something, where it's like it's fixated on something like that.
I'm just another 90s kid on VHS and Billy. Call me Billy, I'm still feeling like, call me Billy Madison.
I went through some really personal, heartbreaking stuff in my life, and it caused me to create this song. And then this song was a real catalyst for me. I'm like, I want to give my catalog more emotional songs like this. Like it feels to me like it's the easiest way I could say it and have you be like, oh, okay, I get it. This feels like my only one, like Yellow Card.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You are my only one. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And is there a music video coming out for this or anything? Or
I've been shooting just short form content videos, honestly. Because
again, that's before we kicked this off, I was talking about my approach to like interviews as well. And I'm like, I see the short form version of stuff being more impactful to reach an audience because people are just scrolling through on TikTok and Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
And you did have, what was the most recent clip that you did with Get Lost in Vegas? The one with like the TVs behind you and stuff.
I think I need to get another fix, so I post a pic and pretend I'm happy. Scrolling to the dopamine hits. When it ends, don't really know exactly.
Like that looked sick as hell.
Thanks.
And I was like, is there a full music video to this?
Nope.
So I looked it up and I was like, there's not, but that looks great. Like that's the kind of thing that would pique my interest.
With alt pop, I had this whole storyline that I was gonna do that was gonna connect over the course of like fucking 6 videos.
You call me crazy, call me psycho. You say I'm never doing the right thing, like a human volcano. Burning in my bones, I'm so infernal. Call me out pop, bang it out, head set a hot stop. Chorus so big like a bomb drop.
And I kind of like took a step back and I was just like, I'm spending so much money on music videos as a new independent artist that people are just discovering.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, 90% of the people are going to watch the clip and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't I just shoot the clip and just put out more music?
Yeah.
More songs with more little short form, 40 second to a minute clips.
Yeah, and
So-
you can put more time, resources into the actual music side of stuff.
Yep,
And
exactly.
not just go broke making music videos because that stuff's expensive.
It's very expensive, you
Yeah.
know? And I love it. Like I think it's just because I'm such a massive Gerard Way fan that like I've grown up always wanting to make things like very grandiose and like have a big vision and a plot and characters and all this sort of stuff. And it's not to say that I don't want to do that anymore. I definitely do. But when I do it, I want it to be perfect. And I can't let that be deterred by budget sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
And we live in such a different era now, the way that people consume stuff. Because Time on My Cam, they have some of the craziest music videos.
do.
That were like Ghost of You.
Yeah.
Like I remember when that one came out, I was like, oh my God, this thing looks incredible.
yeah.
But first off, budgets in general aren't where they used to be in the
Definitely
music
not.
world because
Definitely not.
the age of social media and streaming, I feel like has allowed so many artists to pop up and do stuff
Yeah.
that not as many artists have the labels and the budgets behind them. And
Definitely
then
not.
Yeah. How is it being a musician nowadays? What a different era than when we grew up going to shows.
It's extremely hard, man.
Yeah.
Especially doing it independent when you're funding everything yourself. I think the biggest benefit is I don't have anybody to tell me no.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to go have a song that's called anti-social media, or I want to go work with a certain producer or stuff, it's really up to me just to shoot an email or a text or whatever and make it happen. I think that's the big benefit of being independent. But, with having to fund everything yourself, it's like we talked about, having to wear all these hats.
Mm-hmm.
It's funding the music, and then it's funding the marketing, and then it's funding the videos. And it's like, for me, as a solo artist too, when I play shows, even like they're hired guns, all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm hiring all of them to do that. So it's just, there's positives and negatives. I think it's kind of our job as musicians to try our very best to see the positives, because they are there. I just think that we have to, I don't know, almost spend a little bit more time dedicated to seeing that rather than trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fixate on the negative too much.
Mm-hmm. When did you start like writing, and how? Because I always feel like it's such a vulnerable, intimate thing, and it takes some sort of strength to be willing to put out your emotions onto paper and into words. When did this happen for you?
It was kind of a snowball effect, honestly. Like when I first started doing the band stuff, I was just a drummer, didn't really write anything. And then I started writing a little bit of lyrics, and then we were having issues with our singers. So then I started singing and writing half the songs. And then it started to be where I was writing, a lot more of the stuff. And then I had quit the band in 2017 and signed a publishing deal with a company based out of the Netherlands that we were like writing songs for DJs. And so that was like my crash course on like what is songwriting? What's happening here that makes people feel this? So we learned about like contrast and like why certain parts sound this way next to other parts. And in that time I learned how to record my voice and produce my vocals and stuff. And I just kind of did this rinse repeat thing for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of time was invaluable for me, of just really diving in and learning like what does it mean to be a real songwriter.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
So drumming is where you started off, though.
Yeah.
Were those your original plans? You're like, I want to be a drummer.
Oh, yeah.
This is for me. Who are some of your favorite drummers?
Travis Barker.
I've heard of him.
The Rev from Avenged.
Oh my God, dude!
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Derek Bloom from First to
Yeah.
Last is incredibly amazing.
Uh huh.
I don't know. I honestly grew up on a lot of like metal stuff because like my parents got me a drum set, like my first drum set for Christmas. When I was learning drums at first, I was playing on this beat up kit with like literally like magic markers and stuff. So that was my first thing. And then when they got me a real kit, my only pedals I ever was given was double kicks.
So that's all you learned.
Yeah.
You were heavy right off the bat.
Yeah. So
Which Travis Barker just started using those.
I know. I
in
saw
the
that
new
more
Blink
than
stuff.
you know, yeah.
I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah.
But so that's how you started off.
Yeah, just double bass. So I was learning like, I don't know, Avenged Sevenfold, and then that turned into like Devil Wears Prada, Day to Remember, stuff like that. But that was just, I don't know. It was almost like if I'm going to learn drums, I'm going to learn the hardest stuff I can right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just throw myself right in the lion's den.
So you a big Devil Wears Prada fan?
I am, yeah.
Dude, I love Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Especially with Roots Above and Branches Below is when that came out, that's what really got me into like metalcore music.
I know a ghost!
That was the first tattoo I ever wanted, was the cover.
The cover? Did you ever get a Devil Wears Prada tattoo?
I didn't, but I would still get that.
Yeah. I love that album, and my bands used to cover that and stuff, and that will always hold such a special place in my heart. So you've had a supportive family in regards to your music choices, I guess.
Oh yeah, the whole time.
Which is great, because I feel like some parents, some families are like, no, go to college. Go be a doctor, blah, 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 blah. But they got you a drum set when you were a kid. They are musically inclined. They're fans of music themselves. So I'm sure they get a kick out of knowing that you're out here pursuing your dreams.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
doing all this stuff.
I mean, they've been front row for everything. So I feel like them being supportive is a mixture of seeing how dedicated I was to it.
Yeah.
And just knowing how stubborn I am too. So it's like, oh yeah, go to college. It's like, they know I'm not going to listen. So,
Yeah.
You know.
Did you ever go to college?
I funny enough, I didn't, but there was a weird time like after high school where my bands broke up and I was just kind of like, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And literally I decided one week, I was like, I'm going to just, there's a college that was like a minute from my house. And I was like, I'm just going to walk in there, grab a pamphlet and pick something. And that was the same week that I met Robbie, who I went on to form Farewell My Love with.
So that meeting inadvertently kind of changed the course of your life, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And little moments like that, I think, are so crazy to think back about in hindsight. It was like me, I was working at Hot Topic when the owner of AP came in. And then that's how I got my start in the music industry.
That's amazing.
And I always think, if I wasn't at Hot Topic that day working that shift and met him, I don't know what I would be doing now. Has 2023 been a good year for you as a solo artist, giving you a chance to really dive into that?
I think it's been like the biggest year of growth I've ever had. Like in terms of just everything, like my personal life, you know, my artist life. And I don't know, I feel like the dedication that I've been able to put into this project has been slowly starting to pay off for me. You know what I mean? About just doing more shows consistently and stuff. I missed playing shows so much, and getting back into it, it just feels really good. And this sort of like the end of this year into next year is just like basically a bunch of songs.
Yeah, that's great.
Some collaborations, some, you know, solo stuff, but that's really the focus for me, is to keep the shows consistent and just keep pumping out music.
And you do, by the way, I got to point out, you still hit those drums when you're live.
Yeah.
Because I saw at the Troubadour, when I saw your set, you still went up there and did that. Do you record your drums, or do you work? I don't even know how it works now. Are drums even real nowadays? Or is a lot of it just everything's just fake nowadays.
Yeah.
Not a bad way. I think stuff sounds great and it makes the process easier. But when it comes to programming the drums, do you have a hand in that? Or
I mean, I'll give little ideas here or there, but like a lot of the guys, like, the thing I don't like to do in the studio is, like, if I'm working with Joey or something, I'm not like, hey, Joey, can you put this tom fill here? Can you do, like, I'm working with Joey for a reason.
You trust his understanding.
Like, I chose these people for a reason. Like, let them bring their flair in. Like, if I have little ideas or stuff, maybe, but I'm never going to be like, these are all my parts and you have to play them exactly as is, or like, you know what I mean? Like, collaboration is wonderful. So.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of it. You work with people who you trust.
And nowadays, too, like, even the bands like the Used or like Somerset that grew up, you know, having, you know, like the
live instruments in the studios.
Like, we're in there drawing the stuff in with MIDI, and like, you can't even tell, man. Like, it's that what it comes down to for me is like, we can go in there and track drums. It's just going to cost more money and take more time, which for me is just not worth it.
And the end result at the end of the day is not going to be that different.
No,
necessarily.
Not.
Dude, being a musician, I feel like now has become so much more like DIY, even on the recording side. Because like you were talking about when you first worked with Steven, recording on like the little thing that you would have used back in 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
It's even on like the video side, because I do a lot of video stuff. It's wild that like in my like house right now, I have like an entire movie studio's worth of stuff that I can just go out and do. And with like music gear, you can actually just go to Amazon, go to Guitar Center, buy whatever stuff you need to record your own music that sounds as good as back in the 90s. Like, you would have had to have gone to like a full-fledged recording studio.
Yeah.
And now you can just do it all yourself.
It's wild to me because, like, I remember when I first started like doing the band thing and recording and like going to studios, it was always like, yeah, like, come record vocals on this mic. Like, this is like a $5,000 mic that like Christina Aguilera would have recorded
insane,
on. You know, and now it's like, I'll buy like the mic I record all my vocals on is $150, and you run a couple plugins on it, you're pretty much gonna have it sound like records sound these days. It's crazy.
Yeah,
you know,
it's technology's wild. It's just always evolving and becoming more marketable to the consumer.
Yeah,
and I wonder what that'll do for like the massive recording studios, like the ones that still do try to rely on the live recording, the big budgets.
I think they're better off, honestly, either staying semi-open to like appease the people that are kind of from, because there's people like, for instance, like Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters, like they want to record on tape. They want these things, and they'll pay the extra money to do it.
Because they can. Yeah.
A mixture of that and like renting the spot out for Peer Space to like shoot music videos and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, to almost like, I've seen bands where like they'll do like fake in the studio. You know what I mean?
Like a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, here we are in the studio. All right, let's get back in the van and actually record.
Yeah, exactly. Record on our $150 mic.
But get a shot of the $5,000 mic.
Yeah.
That's what Christina Aguilera used.
Yeah.
But I did see your behind the scenes video when you were recording with Steven.
Yeah, that was
and
real.
with Lost in Vegas.
Yeah.
And that was real.
Yeah.
that wasn't a rented out studio space.
Yeah, no, that was real.
But it sounds like it's been a good year of growth for you, a good opportunity for you to really focus in on your solo stuff. What year did you actually start dropping the solo stuff?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
And how did COVID, if at all, I feel like for a lot of people, I've brought it up a lot, I feel like COVID put a lot of things into perspective for people. It gave us so much time to sit around, to self-reflect. Did that have any impact on you deciding, like, you know what? This is what I want to be doing.
When I started like the heat of when I was doing the publishing stuff with like DJs and stuff.
Yeah, writing the songs and stuff.
Yeah, that was really in like, I started a little bit before COVID, but like the heat of it was in COVID and I didn't have to work. So I was like able to buckle down and like learn how to record myself and this and that. And I feel like all that time with writing for other people led me to wanting so badly to write for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was almost to blame in a way for the solo stuff happening.
Hopefully touring next year.
I honestly, if I can get a booking agent or somebody that can help me to get on stuff, I would love it. I miss touring so much.
Yeah. I have never toured that much, like apart from Warped Tour stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just doing interviews.
Yeah.
But God, you cannot beat that vibe. That lifestyle of just traveling around and playing shows. I'm guessing. I've never toured and played music. I guess it's pretty cool, probably.
Isn't it weird that just being sweaty in the middle of a Walmart parking lot is nostalgic for us?
I loved it. I loved waking up in like parking lots and truck stops and just being in a new place and never even getting to see it because you're just at the venue. Yeah. And you'll be back in that lifestyle soon, I have a feeling. Because you have a good catalog now for your own set worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you did, we mentioned at the top of this, bring back some of the farewell guys, play some of the songs at Troubadour. How was that?
It was crazy, dude. Like, I hadn't even seen or been in the same room as any of them in 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow, it had been that long?
Yeah. It was crazy. So we just like we had to like remake the backing tracks because it had been so long since we played shows that like live rigs don't run the same anymore.
Yeah.
So like
that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that, but that's true because again, technology is always changing.
Yeah, because like back then it was just like you have a splitter and you have like an iPod, and that was like your backing tracks. Whereas now it's like it's all separately mixed, and you have like the live like vocal processing and all that sort of stuff. It's very different, but it was awesome, man. Like just kind of getting to even connect with them just as friends again, and then to kind of go off and be like, the first time we're going to be together on stage again is at the Troubadour. Yeah. It was just special, man. So,
that's awesome. That's great, dude. Anything else? Anything else that you're cooking up, working on that we didn't cover?
We covered pretty much everything. I'd say people can expect a lot of new music. Always expect the unexpected when it comes to genre. I like to keep things pretty crazy.
Which you can do now.
Yeah.
You're a solo artist. You're not answering to anybody. You're just following stuff that you think is cool and fun and is what you're feeling like making.
There's a song I'll be putting out next year. It's called Haunted House. And it's like the craziest song I've ever made. It's like, it starts off hip hop and it progressively gets like heavier and heavier and heavier until there's like fast, like punk beats at the end and shit. It's
going to go off live.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope that in this next year or so, you get to work with more cool producers, writers behind the scenes.
I'm manifesting the John Feldman.
Yes. Oh my God. And he warms my heart. But dude, we're putting it out there. You're going to work with John Feldman, and then you're going to tour with the Used.
There you go.
And that's the way of it. But
Let's do it.
Thanks for stopping by today.
Well, you have to come with, though. It's the only exception.
Yeah. No, I think that was already a part of the deal.
Oh, okay.
I think that's known
Cool.
already. I'm going to be the backup dancer on the tour.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the
Yeah.
choreographer.
You bring Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie. Are you down to go on tour? Oh, wait, and let's show this off. I forgot.
Boom.
You ready? Little merch here, Tommy. Am I rocking it good?
Oh, yeah.
You like that?
Looking good.
Yeah, nice. Can people pick up this merch from you?
At shows, yeah.
Nice. Everybody go out to the shows. Look at this. Look how beautiful that is. I'm going to show all 7 cameras as if we don't have enough cameras in here. But I'm ending this on a high note with a great hat on my head.
There you go. You're repping.